Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here live weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, and simulcasting on YouTube.com/@Braves Country. Your first choice for Southern sports. Good afternoon, Mr. Justin Waller.
Good afternoon. I don't know much, but I know one thing. Ron White said it best. You can't fix stupid. So I want everybody to thank a truck driver the next time they run into one.
Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. If you want an interesting bet on MVP, Joe Burrow is plus 600. Get it while you can.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Yeah, howdy, hi, and how the hell are you? Welcome to Braves Country, Armchair Quarterback Radio, WQEE The Key, coming to you live from the Armchair Quarterback Studios in Jacksonville, Florida, and also in Nashville, Tennessee. Justin, how the hell are you?
Well, now that my weekend plans are set with reseeding my lawn and removing debris from my driveway because skilled labor is hard to find, truck drivers should not off-road in people's front lawns when it's raining. So, yeah, I'm thrilled, as you can tell.
We are going to start tonight's show off with Mike Leach. Justin hasn't been on since the terrible tragedy with Mike Leach. We do want to start this with one of his clips, and then we'll get into his reactions, because I know Justin was a huge Mike Leach fan, Mike Leach, excuse me. And here is one of his more famous clips about mythical powers with the different mascots in the Pac-12 and which one would win what.
What kind of mythical powers does a Sun Devil have? We got to consider that. I'm going to say the Wildcat's out. The Trojan, does he have a horse or is he on foot? Does he have a bow and arrow or just his sword? The Bruin, definitely formidable. Another bear up there at Cal. The tree, I imagine that tree's going to get chopped down, unless we're going to go with a bird and somebody might get pecked or something. I don't know. And then the duck might lose interest and just fly away and get out of there, which may be good advice under the circumstances. The husky, no chance. The beaver, we'll see how long that beaver can hold his breath. The ute, again, we're back to, is he on horseback? Does he have a bow and arrow? Did he trade for a rifle? I mean, because if that ute's got a rifle, there's some definite problems. And then, you'd have to get one of those Harry Potter activists to read up on how you kill a Sun Devil, because there's a lot of outside stuff there. A buffalo's going to be pretty hard to tangle with. I mean, a buffalo's utterly outstanding.
All right.
A buffalo with Neon Dion.
I should have looked it up. I don't remember. I know it's been since we've done the show that he was doing those comments. It's got to be like, what was that, 2018, 2019? Because he was still at Washington State.
I feel like it was 2019, but
yeah, I think
so much went past in 2020 to 2022 that I feel like we've lost 5 years of life. So I can't keep track anymore. But right. I think it was 2019.
He came over to Mississippi State when Lane Kiffin came over there. Is that right? Do I have that right? I guess what I'm getting.
Mullen went to Florida.
What's that?
He replaced Mullen.
Right. I'm saying when Kiffin went to Ole Miss, was he a year before? Because I feel like, anyways, I guess what my point is, I feel like he was a year before. My point is that when he arrived at Mississippi State and then Kiffin got to Ole Miss, you and I started day one started talking about how fun the Egg Bowl was going to be.
Oh yeah, the Pirate and the Lane Train. I remember the heyday of that. We didn't get exactly what we thought we would, but back to Mike, man, the world lost a good dude, and that's it's not going to be near as funny. And that's the sad part about it all. Just the joy and excitement that he brought, I can only imagine to his loved ones around him, that he just brought to the rest of us as fans in the sporting world. I feel for his entire family and the Mississippi State alum and anybody, I guess Washington State family as well, all the way back to Texas Tech. I mean, he had a big hand in a lot of young men's lives, and what a funny dude. I mean, just unique perspective, no filter, and just not many people built like that anymore.
So I pulled it up. They came in the same year in 2020. So at first that was my first thought, was Kiffin and Leach came in the same year. But for some reason I thought maybe I had that wrong. But yeah, they came in the same year. It's really hard to believe too, because I feel like he's only been at Mississippi State a couple of seasons. It's been 3 years now. And what really threw me is when I was looking up his information, I guess it was the day that it happened, was that I did not realize it had been so long since he had been at Texas Tech, because he left Texas Tech in 2009 during that. Remember that whole controversy about the kid being put in the
it was a concussion.
Yeah, in concussion protocol. The very beginning, this is when they first started talking about CTEs. And I didn't realize that had been 2009, because I guess it slipped my mind that it was a 3-year hiatus before he went to Washington State. I guess I thought there was only like a year in between, but and it was at Washington State from 12 to 2019, which I would have lost that bet 100, because I did not think he was there that long. But not only was he one of the funniest guys, but he really revolutionized the modern college football game, because his Texas Tech teams, and I remember he had a couple of upsets. I remember one specifically. I don't remember the year, but I remember it was during Mac Brown's Texas heyday when they were national title contenders, and Texas Tech upset them on a Saturday night. It was an ESPN, like Herb Street type of broadcast. And there was a Michael Crabtree catch. There was a toe tap. Is a big thing that I always remember from it. And the whole thing is just, it's shocking. It's sad. And I mentioned this the day that it happened, or maybe it was the day that we found he was, in bad way, that he reminds me in a different way. Personality is much different. But the fact that all those years when I was pulling for Florida State and Bobby Bowden was the head coach, there were a lot of people that didn't like Florida State, that pulled against them. And a lot of it, look, I knew what the deal was. When you win that much, people get tired of you winning, so they don't want to see you win. I get that. But the one thing they never said was, even Gator fans never said, I hate Bobby Bowden. Like they all loved Bobby Bowden. And that's the way I feel about with Mississippi State, is I would assume most Ole Miss fans, I'm sure there's a couple of mental patients, but most Ole Miss fans will tell you they're going to miss him in the rivalry, because he's one of those guys that's like, man, I never necessarily pulled for his team, but I never pulled against him, because he was so likable.
My biggest thing that I would have liked to have seen is actually off the field from Mike Leach. A lot of people, I don't know if they know, but he was a law grad and he was a lawyer. And I can only imagine, what if he would not have taken the football? Could you imagine Mike Leach in a courtroom? And
You'd have been
wow. And somebody would actually watch one of them channels. Like, you would tune in and it would be on Court TV, or no plug there. Sorry, didn't mean to. But all day long, that's all I want to see.
The other thing that we missed out with him is if he would have retired at some point, and what his broadcasting career would have been. And I feel like he's a guy that never would have went to anything regular. I think he just would have had a podcast that would have been really popular. And I feel like 75-80% of it would have had nothing to do with college football.
No, it would have just been random life facts and just different uniques and perspectives. And That's one of my favorite, the mythical creatures. That's a funny one. His marital advice. There's been numerous ones throughout the years that have just absolutely cracked me up. And as you work through a marriage and you hear some of these, you just look back and you just roll laughing at his perspective. I mean, blueberry pie. You ever planned a wedding? You know how these things happen. We're just along for the ride. He was the guy that wasn't scared to say it.
Yeah, and I ended up with a bunch of his clips that we'll play a few today, and then throughout the shows the next few days or whatever. But I love the one where he was. I can't do it justice, but he was basically poking fun at people thinking that we're the only life form, right? And that, because how do you know? Have you been to all the other planets? Like, it was that kind of thing. I was like, exactly. Like, but he had the platform to say, let's not be stupid, right? Yeah. Anyone that tells you they know, those are the ones that I worry about. The ones that say it's definitely this or it's definitely that. All right, man. I don't know why you're trying to tell yourself a story, but most of us are like, I have no idea. I guess we can move on from that, but he's gonna be missed. He's definitely gonna be missed by this show, because I was telling folks the other day that 9 times out of 10, if I got a text from you during his tenure, especially his heyday, I knew without even opening it, it was going to be something of Mike Leach from Twitter or something, where I'd be like, what did he just say? And you always, everything I ever open with it, watch him, I always have to rewind and go, what did he just say? Like, did I get that straight?
There's 2 things I can guarantee you about watching press conferences. And it's unfortunate I will never see this first one and my favorite one ever again. Mike Leach just did not have dull press conferences. I never, as a fan, have been one to just had to tune in, but he made me tune in. It didn't matter the topic or what they were talking or which school he was at. I would tune in because I wanted to hear and see his personality, and it was entertaining. The second one is that when Nick Saban's pissed, those are the fun ones too. So now that's the only thing I got left is to watch Nick Saban mad, because that's fun to watch in press conferences.
Yeah, the
addition never done it, watch him.
of him and Lane Kiffin to SEC Media Days was priceless, and it's just it won't be as good. I mean, Kiffin still, I still love watching Kiffin because he loves this decade, especially Saban whenever he gets a chance, and it's always usually a very sly comment. It's like you just jab him. But he's he's gonna be missed. You haven't been on since the Braves made the Sean Murphy trade. I know there's a lot of other stuff we could get into with the Braves today, but I specifically want to talk about that, because there were a lot of fans that came when it first came out, and I was one of them, that kept thinking there was something else in this trade because we had given up so many pieces. And I guess it's also just a hopeful type thing too, that considering the teams that were involved, my first guess and my first hope was that Willie Adames, when they say three-player trade, and the Brewers got the best player in the deal, not counting Sean Murphy, I was thinking, man, maybe they're sending a Sean Murphy and we're getting Willie Adames, and we had to give up Kyle. I mean, we gave up one of our better players, and then, of course, 3 of our top 10 prospects. So I'm not going to lie, and you got to realize, Justin, when this news broke, I was live on air. So it was like first hour. One of our loyal viewers, listeners, Maverick, was actually popped it onto the screen, and I saw it at first. I was like, wait, what? And as he's doing it, I see it scroll across everything else, because I always have like 9 devices, Twitter and all the different cable channels. And it took a hot minute to just let it soak in, but you're also slowly getting all the information of what you're giving away. And then when they go Contreras and Muller, and then Freddie Tarnock, who I'd finally gotten the chance to see in the big leagues, and I was impressed by, and he's involved in it. And then, and I was like, oh my God. The biggest thing I took out of this is that Oakland's stupid. We gave them Contreras, and they sent Contreras to Milwaukee to get Ruiz. And if they think that Ruiz is going to be half the player William Contreras is, they wrong. What say you?
Sean Murphy is on my fantasy dynasty roster, and I love it. Number 9 fantasy performing catcher 2022, little diamond in the rough that we've picked up there, and we have control till 2025. So I like it. I know I'm probably in the minority, but you know me and my affiliation with the Athletics, as they used to be the affiliate for the Sounds. So I started watching some West Coast baseball. That has since changed again, but I still enjoy watching the Athletics, and Sean Murphy is a very good catcher. And I think that the Braves are going to enjoy seeing him this spring, and I think you got your guy.
I'm excited to watch him play on a daily basis. I'd be lying if I said I watched a lot of Oakland Athletic baseball. Comes on at 10 o'clock at night. And other than when we play them and I catch a cup game here or there, I haven't watched much. But I'm excited to see what he brings, and I hope he gets better as a batter, because if you look at his batting statistics, they're not impressive at all. And I would be spinning it if I said they were. He's not even in the conversation of what William Contreras brings to the table offensively. But then I started looking at all the stuff that he does defensively, and if you believe in all the metrics and everything, he's top 3 in the league in everything. He doesn't have quite the bat that JT Realmuto has yet. He's also a few years younger, so, and this is kind of his wheelhouse, Justin. It's like you mentioned. Maybe we're getting him right before he takes off. 18 home runs doesn't impress anybody in today's game. But maybe he gets between 20 and 25 this year. And if he stays elite defensively, that's more than enough, because he's going to be at the bottom of the lineup. I know a lot of people go, we're going to plug him in at number 5. No, everybody knows Sean Murphy's going to be 7, 8, 9. He's going to be somewhere in that area. But that's okay, because that just tells you that we've got a really good lineup. I've got Contreras in our dynasty league, and I'm probably keeping him because he's just that elite as a catcher, and he's going to DH. And but as far as from a Brave standpoint, I think this just kind of tells you where they are, and they're going. They're not building a fantasy baseball roster, is what I'm trying to get at, right? They're trying to win a World Series, and I played the clip yesterday. How long is that clip? Is it too long? Yeah, it's too long. Let me shorten it. You're gonna catch this mid stroke, but it's about the last 25 seconds of Harold Reynolds of Major League Baseball Network talking about the trade, and this is what he said about the Braves going forward, what their game plan may be. I hope I got it around the right time.
Up for long term. They didn't do all that to get Matt Olson to go, Matt, you know what? Hey, we're going to split time with you. You can DH a little bit here and there. No, you're our first baseman. Next day, boom, they had a big deal. I'm looking for the next move the Braves do. They're going to Murphy and saying, here's a long-term contract. You've been in Oakland. You've been going up and down, begging for bread. Look, we're going to hook it up. And then they're going to figure out what to do with Darno. They're sitting in the driver's seat. You got an all-star catcher that can go out on the market for what they need.
That's the part that made my toes curl, because now I'm sure if he had a chance to retract that, he would. Shortly after the trade, Anthopoulos, and I've got that on recording. The problem is it's so long, and I don't know where it is. So, but basically, he said that he made the phone call to Darno to discuss what the game plan was, so that he didn't feel like his toes were being stepped on, because Darno was, he's been the heart and soul of this team for the past couple of years. And he basically told Darno, there's going to be plenty of innings to catch, and we plan on using you a lot in DH. And what that tells me is they would love to move Ozuna. I don't know how realistic that is, but I've been mentioning this ever since the trade. I mean, considering you're kind of stuck with Ozuna and Rosario's contracts, and I still give Rosario more of a pass than Ozuna because he had the eye injury, right? But who's to say you can't platoon those dudes out there in left field? And who's to say that can't be something? Because I think it could be. I mean, Ozuna might get ticked off because he's only going to go play against lefties. He'll get the occasional start at DH, right? But if you want to play, perform.
I'll give you that the offensive pop is not there in the long ball. But what I will give you is small ball and in at bats. I mean, the man plays 532 at bats versus the split between Contreras and Darno. You put him out there, put in 67 RBIs. What I like about it, even though the average is lower, he's got speed. Look at the doubles, 37 doubles. I mean, you look at the three catchers, if you stack them up in their rankings in 2022, Darno is 7, Murphy is 8, William Contreras is 9. They're all stacked right there. Now, Contreras has the huge upside, but is it a guarantee? Do we know it's going to develop and take over? Or you've got it in Murphy and you project you're getting him on the upswing? I'm all in on the Murphy deal. I liked it. I liked the Olsen trade last year with the Athletics.
I'm just saying,
let's just farm their system.
So 334 at bats last year for Contreras.
Yep.
97 games. So what are we talking about? Like 2/3 of the year, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a pretty good sample size. And how old is he now? He is about to turn 25, right? He's got 860 OPS. That is pounding the ball and 20 home runs. And I'm not bashing Murphy at all because, look, there's never really been a catcher that is elite defensively and top of the chain offensively. The only one you could even give an argument to is Mike Piazza, who was really good defensively. He was not elite, though. People forget that you could run on Piazza.
Here's what I love in the two categories that I go to are the hits are the biggest difference, 131 versus 93. But I go back to ribbies. And you're looking at 66 to 45. So those long balls really aren't worth anything when they're singles. I mean, they're not. I think you're going to like the small ball, the contact hitter that Murphy is. It won't be an all or nothing. I think it'll be a little bit more consistent.
Right, I'm just
again with Darno and day-to-day rest. I think it's going to be great for the pitching.
I'm just looking at the power outage compared to, he's got a 759 OPS. And to me, that's the most telling stat. Same token, I would bet dollars to donuts. I don't know if there's a prop we can find out in Vegas that OPS goes up considerably because he's not playing in Oakland anymore.
And you can't pitch around him.
You can't pitch around him, but he's not playing in Oakland anymore. And that is a cavernous stadium. And you look at his splits, that's a big difference. So we don't need him to hit it out of the park, to be perfectly honest with you. It's like you're talking about now batting average. Yeah, I mean your old school guys are not going to be impressed. 236 lifetime batting average, right? 250 last year, which is his highest. That's not going to impress. But I think that will improve a little bit because the shift is going away. And for what I saw of his splits, but once again, I'm not an Oakland A's the guy, but it looks like he pulls the ball a lot, right? So that should be improved just because you're not going to be able to. I'm sure the entire AL West just put a wall over there, like we see when Acuna's at bat, right? So I'm totally open-minded with it. I was just the only reason why I was disappointed is because when we gave away Muller and Contreras and Tarnock, I was hoping we got one more piece. And even if it wasn't the elite piece, because there were folks putting in comments, pie in the sky stuff. Can't hate it. They were talking about, are we getting one of their pitchers? Burns, Woodruff, right? Which would have been insane. But the main one that I was hoping for was possibly Adames, and then you move. But at the same token, if you do that, if you were to bring in a Willie Adames and pay him his salary, you've got to be able to either move Rosario and teach Grissom to play left field, or you're moving Grissom. And I'm not prepared to move Grissom to get an older player like Adames, even though he's good. I still believe in Grissom. We got to take a quick break. We're well past time. We'll be back in a flash. When we come back, we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about the National Football League. You're listening to WQEE and wherever you're streaming Braves Country HD. Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern, 99.1 FM The Key, your first choice for Southern sports talk. Dixie Handle Company, 5 generations of the Strickland family have produced quality hardwood farm and garden tools, wooden shutters, and custom furniture. This small business has been owned and operated since 1992 and ships to customers across the world. If you're looking for the highest quality tool handles, Dixie Handle Company is your place. Every item is hand-picked to your specifications. If it's made of wood, they do it. Call now, 931-722-3395. That's 931-722-3395. Or go online to dixiehandle.com. The Dixie Handle Company. Welcome to Craftsmanship, a proud sponsor of Braves Country Baseball.
It all starts with just one thing. When recycling, rinse out jars and cans, and avoid recycling wax paper or paper soiled with food. This will reduce recycling contamination. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
Whenever I bring home Entenmann's Little Bites muffins.
Little Bites?
That's right, sweetie. Can you just give Mommy a minute?
I love Little Bites.
I know you do, but we're doing a commercial right now, okay?
Got it.
As I was saying, whenever I bring home you know what, you know who gets pretty excited. And so do I. Little Bites muffins are made with real ingredients, no high fructose corn syrup, and are baked moist and delicious.
I love Little Bites.
Here you go.
Yes.
Entenmann's Little Bites muffin, the perfect portion of happiness.
You're not sick tonight, are you? Good. Your tongue's going to be hanging out. Tell him to throw up on his own time.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, home of Braves Country, weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, and youtube.com at Braves Country.
When it rains mud, dust comes through, rain on top of it, it rains mud. This weather report here, what do I know? I'm a football coach. I suggest you go out and do what I do. Get out of bed, go outside, then you know.
Welcome back. Waller Thursdays. Can we get you to change your last name? Because it would be better if it was you start with the TH, right?
I am, if that matters.
Oh, man, we are going into week 15, and it's the nitty-gritty. By the way, we're going to get a college confidence contest like we normally do. The pick the bowl games, and you put the confidence in how they're going to fare with the point spreads. I'll get that out to folks next couple of days, so we'll be able to do that. It's too long to go through it on the show, so I'm not even going to try to do that. Because you're talking about picking, I don't even know. I haven't even counted it up anymore. Is it what? It's got to be around 40 plus bowl games now.
I have not totaled it.
Yeah, exactly. The last time I paid attention to the number, it was 41-ish. I feel like they've either...
I stopped counting when they added 5 and 7 teams to fill rosters. I'm sorry. You need to at least have the 600. Can we go back to the 6 and 6 threshold?
What is Rice doing in a bowl game? My word. What is that game? That's Saturday.
Trying to fill some seats.
I mean, the Vols and the Knowles have been 5 and 7 in recent years. They didn't put them in bowl games. Rice, that's going to be important. And I remember looking at the, let me double check it, but I think the game is in Alabama. So it's not even like, okay, well, we're trying to get all the, if it was in the Rice area in northern Texas or something, like, okay, fair enough. There's trying to put butts in seats, but Rice. Anyways, that's one of the games that does not interest me at all in the bowl. I'll tell you the one that does Friday, the Cure Bowl, UTSA and Troy. That's a fun one. I cannot figure for the life of me why it's being played in the middle of the afternoon. There's no other college football game that night. And the only thing I can think of, I haven't checked the guide. Maybe they're going to try to showcase the Division II, Division III playoffs like they do sometimes. But you couldn't put UTSA versus Troy on like ESPN2, ESPN News. It's just a strange one. Miami of Ohio, UAB, that should be mid-afternoon, and then you put Troy UTSA at night. That game's in Orlando, too.
Yeah, that's what I was looking up for the location, see where it was. That is an odd 3 Eastern start time.
That's the only thing I can think about. It's really got my interest now, so I'm going to look it up real quick. But that's it's not like they got the NFL to go against, right? So that's got to be a decision made by ESPN. But Saturday, I'm interested in like 2 or 3 of those bowl games. You know, the Florida Oregon State one, obviously, because you want to see what Florida can do with Jack Miller, and is he going to be the heir apparent, or is this new kid that's committed to them? I don't know his name, so forgive me on that one. But the 4-star athletic quarterback, the number 1 dual threat quarterback, as they call him by rivals. So Jack Miller's going to have a lot on his shoulders as far as he's got the leg up to take the job in Gainesville, right? But is he going to get it done? And will this new kid put a scare into him? But the Cincinnati-Louisville game, I like that game. I just wish it was a little later. It is strange, though. Have you paid attention to this, Justin? Louisville's coach is leaving to go coach Cincinnati, and they're playing each other in a bowl game.
I did not know that. I missed that completely.
So where is this guy during? Where is he during?
Get to Louisville like 2 or 3 seasons ago. That was a quick departure.
I'm sorry. Do what?
He hasn't been at Louisville that long, has he?
No.
He 2 or 3 season tops. Yeah, he came from App State, didn't he?
Yeah, and he really didn't, and he really hasn't done that great of a job. But I think he's resetting the clock. I think he's like, I need to get out of here and get up to Cincinnati, and it's a no-brainer. Because the Cincinnati coach moved on. Fickle. He headed to Wisconsin. And then Rome from Purdue is headed back to Louisville, which seems like a step down, but it is his alma mater, so I kind of get that.
It's interesting on the Cincinnati, and the head coach's name is escaping me, but I don't know if you step into Fickle's shoes after you've had the lackluster performance that you've had at Louisville. You did more with less at App State, and you showed you could, but you haven't turned that on in the ACC. So maybe going to a power, non-power, or the next step, or
Scott Satterfield is the.
That was it. I could not come up with it.
I'll tell you this from watching ACC media days, he's impressive in interviews, but he hasn't done anything in Louisville. So I don't know what to make of it, other than the fact that I really want to watch this game because I want to know where he's at. Does he even go to the game? Is he going to be in the press? I bet he's in the press box at some point being interviewed. But that's a weird situation. I really like the over in that game for no particular reason, other than the fact that I feel like there's going to be chaos and no defense, and let's go. I've got nothing to base that off of, but I do like the over in that game.
The no defense bowl.
Yeah, I'm going to be because I just figure, man, both teams are probably confused all the heck. I would think Cincinnati would win just out of talent, but I mean, how organized are they? They lost their coach.
mean, it's almost a day of that. You got Jackson State and NC Central playing. It's going to be interesting with Deion's departure.
I did not know that game was on. I guess because I only have it on the FBS ones.
That's noon Saturday.
Televised?
Celebration Bowl, ABC, Jackson State, NC Central, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, that is the one that if anyone wants to point to Deion being a hypocrite, that's the bowl. Because when he talked about it a couple of years ago, he made it sound like he would never leave HBCU football because he was trying to build something, et cetera, et cetera. And the first time he got a chance to bolt, he did.
Well, I don't get very many Campbell's references, but it is a common foe of both of these schools. And my Camels trounced in NC Central by 30. They lost to Jackson State by just 7. So if the Camels are of any consolation prize of a litmus test, I'm leaning Jackson State on this one. Just because of the Camels told me so.
Yeah, I have. You got me, man.
I worked hard to find the common opponent between them, and the Camels had to be brought up. I mean,
there's a better chance that I watch the Frisco Bowl. Was that Saturday night, 9:15, ESPN, North Texas and Boise State? The SMU BYU game is interesting.
Agreed.
The Florida Oregon State game is interesting, and Cincinnati Louisville. Other than that, there is a triple header of NFL on that day.
Washington State, Fresno State interests me only because of the passing of Leach this week.
Yeah.
I just kind of want to see what they do. See if they do. I'm sure they'll have something, but just interesting to watch. Hope I get some good clips out of it.
So I'm at Friday on the television guide. Golden State 76ers is the primetime game. And FCS Division I championship is the ESPN2 game of the day. So maybe they didn't want to put 2 football games on, but I feel like that UTSA Troy game would get a much bigger audience. I feel like it would get a much bigger audience than the basketball game, but I guess they don't want to overshadow. Anyways, I was interested in
Are these rankings correct? Is this a 24-25? We have
Yeah.
a ranked matchup.
Yeah.
Are my eyes deceiving me?
No, I mean two really good football teams. If I thought I could stay away from the score during the show, I would just start watching it after the show ended, but that's not going to happen. I got too much stuff streaming in the studio. I could never stay away from anything. But as far as the college bowls go, they really get rolling next week. But if you got one game that you're going to watch this weekend, counting Friday, Saturday, which one is it?
Florida, Oregon State. I guarantee Team in Orange will win. That's all I know about that.
I think that's the game that I care about the most, football game I care about most on Saturday, yeah. I do want to see UTSA Troy, but considering the time period, it's just kind of stinks. So, yeah.
I mean, but if we're doing in Leach style, you got to give the Gators the heads up in the Beaver matchup, right? Like, I don't care how long that Beaver can hold its breath. Like, Gator can too, right? Gator wins that battle all day long.
But that's kind of a toothless Gator not having 2 quarterbacks on your roster.
We're just going straight mascot on mascot crime here. Like, mascot Gators get to win on this one.
I feel like you could probably wrestle that Gator to the ground with no teeth and get that sucker underwater. But I don't know if a Beaver could. But if a Beaver's got teeth, and the Beaver does have teeth, and the Gator doesn't have teeth because it has no quarterback, I think the Beaver's got a fighting chance. What if the Beaver chopped down some wood and trapped the Gator?
Might build a little cage, got him in. I see where you're going with this. Yeah. little sneak
I
attack.
feel like we need to go to break and change the subject before.
Because we're struggling right now.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm starting to use the terms beaver and wood too much. Next thing you know. All right, we'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country, Armchair Quarterbacks Radio, WQEE, Newton, Georgia. Keep it locked in here. We will be back in just a moment.
What about Kelso? I mean, Jackie has him totally whipped.
Ribbed like the family pig.
I am not pig whipped.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Whenever I bring home Entenmann's Little Bites muffins.
Little bites?
That's right, sweetie. Can you just give Mommy a minute?
I love little bites.
I know you do, but we're doing a commercial right now, okay?
Got it.
As I was saying, whenever I bring home you know what, you know who gets pretty excited. And so do I. Little Bites muffins are made with real ingredients, no high fructose corn syrup, and are baked moist and delicious.
I love little bites.
Here you go.
Yes.
Entenmann's Little Bites muffins. The perfect portion of happiness.
Like, I don't like winter. Like, I don't like winter. Like, I hate winter. Like, I'm originally from North Carolina. And, like, look, I hate winter so much, I'm for global warming. I am voting for it, marching for it. I might start buying people SUVs. I don't care. Ladies, start using hairspray again. No ozone. That's our goal. And see, there's people with me, but there's always a couple of crunchy granolas sitting around. Crunchy granolas sitting there thinking, but the polar ice caps are going to melt and we're all going to flood. No, we're not. We're not all going to flood. We're only losing Rhode Island, Long Island, and Jersey. Bye-bye.
Armchair.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Newnan, Georgia, home of Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on The Key and YouTube.com at Braves Country.
As coaches, we failed to make our coaching points and our points more compelling than their fat little girlfriends. Now, their fat little girlfriends have some obvious advantages. For one thing, their fat little girlfriends are telling them what they want to hear, which is how great you are and how easy it's going to be.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man. Yeah, the armchair.
Welcome back. That's more Mike Leach for you.
You got to serve that up. That was a comment about effort on his football players' behalf that led off into that tirade, that the players were more interested in their fat little girlfriend's opinions than it was effort on the football field. And, oh, man, just shot straight shooter.
Yeah. Yeah. I found that one. I about fell out of my chair. I was like, I don't even remember this one, man. This is so hilarious.
He was at Mississippi State. I think he was at Mississippi State when that happened. I can't remember. I get the colors mixed up with Washington State and Mississippi State, and don't kill me, you diehards. I'm sorry, but when you're almost as colorblind as I am, it's hard to distinguish between the two. They're pretty similar. Can you at least give me that?
Yes, they are. Moving on and going into our 6-pack that we normally do. Got sidetracked, didn't do it last week, but we're doing our 6-pack of plays. And if you want to sign up for betus.com.pa, click the link in the conversation here on any of our streaming, and they will get you 125% sign up bonus. So, where are we going for your first 6-pack? We going NFL? We going college football?
I'm going to make mine easy for you. I'm going to stay in the NFL on my side of the ticket. So I'm going to go NFL, and first one I like, I'm taking the Dallas Cowboys -4. I know the Jaguars looked good last week, but that happens when you get 4 turnovers.
Yeah, I really think that's fool's gold. Everyone thinking that Jaguars are going to do that 2 weeks in a row, especially because one of the things that the Jaguars struggle with is when pressure is applied on Trevor Lawrence, he has one of the worst QBR ratings in all of football, and the Cowboys will bring it. My first pick, where is it at? Let's see if it is moved at all. There we go. I like the Lions, Jets. I like the over. The over is 44.5. And I think those two offenses are going to put up a lot of points. I know the Jets defense has been pretty good. That Lions offense is absolutely on fire. What's your next one?
Well, I'm going to go with the NFC South matchup. I'm going to take the Falcons +4 on the road versus the Saints. I like this division's pretty close and tight and real contested right now. And be it an ugly win or not, I still think it's going to be a field goal game one way or another. So I'll take the points in the Falcons.
I like that. And, you know, I'm trying to remember who I was talking about it with yesterday on the show. But anyways, the point is the Falcons right now are plus 1,200 to win the division. That's not a bad idea to throw a few bones on there. I think it was Steven. So Tampa Bay was minus 300. Carolina was plus 600. And the Falcons are plus 1,200. And my argument was I would rather throw plus 100, plus 300 for the Panthers. I would rather throw 100 to win 300 with the Panthers than throw 300 to win 100 with the Bucks, because I don't believe in the Bucks this year. But if we're getting goofy, you can throw $25 and win 300 with the Falcons, and let's go. And if it's going to happen, you need to do it this week before this game starts, because if Desmond Ridder comes out and looks like the quarterback he was in college and gets a W, and let's say Carolina loses, Tampa loses, or whatever, you're not going to get that plus 1,200 the rest of the year. Now, I know it's a huge gamble because we haven't seen him play, and it could be a disaster. It's in New Orleans. It's a tough place to play. Well, that's why they call it gambling, right? My next game, I am going to, let me see here. By the way, what a couple of duds the Saturday afternoon games are. Colts in Minnesota and Ravens Cleveland. Oof. I won't do the San Francisco Seattle game because I'm doing the game tonight, so I'm not going to pick a team. But let me see here.
If weather's good, Dolphins Bills is interesting. Divisional game, but any chance of any precipitation tomorrow night, and Miami doesn't do well in that kind of weather.
I'm going to leave this one game for you because I figure you might take it. So let me go. You know what? Patriots only a 1-point favorite. I get it. They're back-to-back West Coast, but dude, the Raiders were terrible. Give me the Patriots.
I like it. And they probably stayed out anyway. No vacation of it.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you go, hey, let's not go flying back up to Boston and freeze our balloons off. Let's go hang out in Vegas.
Stretch out, stay warm.
Yeah.
Catch a Florida game. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think you left me this one on purpose, but I'm going Panthers -2.5 at home. Pickett concussion protocol. The Steelers aren't the same without him, and I don't think we need to explain that one.
Yeah, I feel like Carolina's I feel like they're dangerously underrated in this game.
They're in it for the division. We've talked about it top to bottom. That one's a toss-up.
I don't know if you can put some kind of wager on the fact that I believe that we're going to have a 3-way tie in that division come Monday. I think Carolina wins. I think Atlanta's going to pull off the upset. And Tampa is going to get their lunch handed to them by Joe Burrow and company. All right, let me go one more. There's one that I really like, but I'm saving it for my stupid underdogs. I really don't want to use it because I feel like that then you're just doubling down, and that just sounds like nuts. Let me go over to college football. There was a game that I had my eye on. I'm going to go ahead and hit that one, kind of bust it up a little bit. Oh, man, the line changed. No, you know what? I know what we're talking about. Louisville, Cincinnati. Give me the over. Louisville, Cincinnati in the I don't know what's going on bowl. 40 points does not seem like a lot in college football. Two teams, 11 o'clock in the morning. Now that part scares me. Yeah, a little hangover going on. But, I figured all you need is one or two goofy turnovers at the wrong place, and you could have 40 at the half.
That's low for a non-service school. I will say that. Now, if it was a service academies, I'd be like, ooh, 40. We've talked about this.
Yeah. I feel like there would be quite the I don't know. And maybe there's something that I'm missing about this game. I don't follow these schools very closely, but 40 just seems extremely low. I'm planning on probably doing some version of a teaser and taking the Lions, Jets, Louisville, Cincinnati overs. Because you do a 6-point teaser, I mean, then those two get really easy to hit. And I don't think we're getting bad. I remember checking the Boston game, not bad weather, and I don't think it's going to be bad weather Lions, Jets. Mike White, if you're doing any fantasy, Mike White's going to torch the Lions secondary. Garrett Wilson's going to blow up. Whatever his over-under is in prop bet, that's something you want to pay attention to. You might be able to score big on Garrett Wilson in the prop bet. I'll pull that up real quick. Lions, Jets. Sometimes they don't have it up this soon. What is this? Will there be a special team? I hit that on the SEC championship game, by the way. Will there be a defensive or special teams touchdown? And it was a plus. Is it plus 600? Is that what it was? I didn't put a whole lot on there. But if you watch the game, that goofy blocked field goal that never rolled to a stop, and Georgia scooped it up and ran it all the way. Dude, I broke the sound barrier in my house. Go, 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 go. Dog's flipping. I go, what is wrong? I don't know. I think I just won $50. Okay. I don't see the individual player props, and maybe it's because they try to straighten out injuries. It seems like when you go through this every week, we used to do those shows on Sundays, and they were everywhere. Well, whatever the player prop is for Garrett Wilson over yards, lock that in as well. Because I feel like he's going to be somewhere. Last few weeks, he's been like around the 60-yard range. They might pop it up to 70, 75. He's going to torch that Lions secondary.
Let's see if I can grab that one real quick.
And, I've mentioned this a few times, but the scariest part about the entire draft that didn't happen is if you've paid attention to Garrett Wilson the last month or so, he's one of the best receivers in the NFL right now. And I'm talking about all of them. I'd put him top 15, top 20. He's been that good. You realize that was the pick that Detroit traded up with Minnesota, and Minnesota traded down, right, in the same division. Can you imagine Justin Jefferson and Garrett Wilson on the same team, same offense?
No.
Lights out. I was surprised they did it. I was very surprised they did it. I said Detroit, the Jets. Sorry, the Jets. They traded up with the Jameson Williams. And he's impressed, but they haven't used him enough. I'm gun shy on him. I did take a TD prop last week, and like the first play of the game, he scored a 41-yard touchdown pass. Oh, this is easy money. And that's like that was the only catch he made all game. I was like, man, I'm glad I got that out of the way. I've been sweating bullets. I'm over here because I last minute I decided not to start him in fantasy. I was like, God bless, I should have started. End of the game, I was like, whatever happened with this? And nothing. He didn't do a thing.
I have no luck with the touchdown player first or anytime. Everyone I pick, it's just not their game. So I just quit.
I feel like if you do it, you need to do 3 or 4 that day and hope you get 1 or 2 right. Because I don't feel like there's any science to it. And I try to find a guy that is on a team that should score often. And I try to find a guy that has good odds. So in other words, you put 10 to 20 bucks on a guy that's got like 500 to 600 to 1, plus 500, 600. That's usually the strategy I go with.
Yeah, well, that's better than my strategy. I just scroll through and look for the best odds on Tennessee players playing in the NFL. I'm like, oh, yeah, we'll take that one, and none of them hit. None of them.
Seattle, San Francisco tonight. We're going to be bringing you the broadcast here. What's your thoughts on this game? I kind of broke it down yesterday, so we don't have to go through that whole thing. But essentially, if San Francisco wins this game, they're going to clinch the division because they'll be up by 3 games with 3 left, and they'll have the tiebreaker. If Seattle does lose, they're going to be in deep doo-doo when it comes to trying to get into the playoffs as a wild card because they're going to be fighting it out with the Giants and the Commandos.
I like, just talking from the gambling perspective, I like Seattle both ways tonight. I like them as a home dog. It's not a big dog, but it is to the positive. They are a home dog this evening, and the 3.5. Is that what you show with our friends?
Yeah.
Yep. 3.5. I will take that at home, and I'm gonna probably go both ways with that tonight if I haven't already.
I would love to see if that's going to climb. I've got a feeling that the betting public's going to be putting their money on Frisco. So if I was going to take Seattle, I'd almost try to see if I can get it to 4 and then buy the hook, right? 4.5. Anytime touchdown, since you're talking about it, anytime touchdown. And
let me go ahead and jinx everybody's choices. Let's see.
I know who it won't be. It won't be Deebo Samuel. So you have to think about who may take Deebo Samuel's place. In the usual suspects are always going to be terrible odds, like Jawan Jennings and.
Oh, come on! That was where I was going. Anytime touchdown plus 260, I'll take it.
Plus 210. That's where you want to go.
I misread it. I told you I picked volunteers, man. My strategy's flawed. I do not hit these. I do like Metcalf at a. What are you showing on that as an anytime?
What about it? Well, got any belief Geno Smith could sneak into the end zone? He's 600.
Does Geno believe he can get into the end zone? That's the question.
That's the question. I don't see a line for Purdy. I don't know why that wouldn't be, but Geno.
Just saw that.
Players to score
plus, it's over 400.
Now, here's one that I would like to take a wild swing at. Players to score 2 or more touchdowns in the game. Your boy Jawan Jennings plus 1,500. Why couldn't he get open in the end zone a couple of times?
Well, you didn't like the 1 touchdown anytime.
It's the odds. I don't like the odds.
Oh,
but I'm saying if you get 2, 1,500. I'm not saying I throw, the utility bill on it, but I'm saying, you throw a 20 spot and see what happens. And then,
well, man, if he gets 3 or more, you can crank that out to plus 10,000. I mean, let's just bet the farm.
I was just about to say, and then you get to drinking, you can double down. So you basically just did it. What is your walk off for the day? We've got about 20 seconds.
Man, my days are less joyful without you, Coach Leach. Rest in peace, and hope everybody can just enjoy the happy times that we had with him here on this earth.
But greatly said, and we'll see you next week. Enjoy the games. We'll be back in a flash. Joey joins us, and we are going to be talking tonight's game along with a lot of football. Keep it locked in here on WQEE and Armchair Quarterbacks Radio, wherever you stream.
Armchair. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
This is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Thursday night's 49ers Seahawks game in the National Football League. Seattle is a 3.5-point underdog at home. The over-under 43. College bowl games get started this week. Friday, you got a doubleheader, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Miami of Ohio is an 11-point underdog against UAB in the Bahama Bowl. Over-under 44. Later on that afternoon, ESPN, UTSA, number 25 in the country, versus Troy, number 24. In Orlando, Florida, Troy is giving up 1.5 points. The over-under 55.5. And on Saturday, going head-to-head, all those NFL games, college football has 6 bowl games. It all gets started 11 a.m. Eastern. Cincinnati, Louisville, Boston, Massachusetts are a 1-point favorite. 2:30 Eastern. The Florida Gators are getting 10 points against Oregon State Beavers, ranked 14th in the country. Florida will be without Anthony Richardson, as well as backup quarterback Jack Miller is expected to start. The over-under 62.5 in Las Vegas. 3:30 Eastern, ABC, Washington State, Fresno State. They're in the LA Bowl. Fresno, 3-point favorite, over under 54.5. 5:45 Eastern, Rice and Southern Miss. Rice with a losing record, 5-7 against the 6-6 Southern Miss Golden Eagles. Southern Miss, a 6.5-point favorite, over under 46.5. SMU, BYU, 7:30 Eastern, ABC. Cougars are a 5.5-point dog to the Mustangs. Braves country, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, the key, Newton, Georgia, simulcasting, youtube.com @Braves country. Hey, sports fans, the key has a brand new show. Braves country is coming your way. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show. Matt McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country. Matt McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE, the key, 99.1 FM. Simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves.
Okay, welcome back. Joey, I need you to take the wheel for a second. I got to leave the studio and come back because the audio is messed up.
No problem at all. We'll be talking about first. There's spreads going on all around the league. We got college football bowl games coming up over the weekend, as we know. Those start tomorrow. Be on the look for those. And also that head into the late afternoon. I'll talk about those games in a minute. Then obviously we got the National Football League. Don't forget about this Saturday slate. It all starts off on NFL Network. You got the Vikings and the Colts game 1, Ravens and the Browns game 2, Dolphins, Bills game 3. But first, do not look past tonight's game. It's already been talked about on this show and many others on WQEE. We are starting with the 3.5-point spread. It's San Fran at Seattle. Seattle early is going to be a 3.5-point favorite, as that seems to be climbing a little bit, and we'll be breaking down that game more in a bit. But a lot of good action coming this weekend. Happy to be back on again, and there's some with college football and the NFL.
I just want to check and see if my sound's a little better.
A little bit, yes. Not greatly, but it's a little better.
It's got something. Okay.
And anyways, going back to what I was talking about, alluding with the spreads, if you look at the game tonight, offensively, Brock Purdy is fine. He was a little bit banged up in practice over the week, but he is going to be playing. In Seattle, in a tough environment without Deebo Samuel, as we saw he got injured last week. Part of me thinks trending towards where I like that Seattle team. A lot of people are down on them right now after the last couple of weeks, but this is a huge game tonight on their home field. As Mac alluded to earlier, if they lose this, the division's pretty much off for them and set in stone for San Francisco. So what are you going to do? Who's going to step up? Geno Smith to DK Metcalf. I know a lot of fantasy owners out there are going to be looking at DK Metcalf tonight. Hopefully he could prance around that defense. So those are some of the key matchups in my eyes before we get to the Saturday slate of games and then also the Friday college bowl game. So that's going off of tonight.
So tonight, Thursday night football, spreads 3.5. What are you thinking?
Yep, and I was leaning that way, and I'm definitely going that way now, is Seattle plus the 3.5. And the reason I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks, as I just mentioned, it's really kind of a must-win. Yes, they're still in the wild card race, but Detroit's been hot. They're coming up on the tails. Washington and New York, they're going to beat each other up this weekend, but is Washington really going to fall off? I don't think so. Giants probably can. But when I look at it, you have to everyone's going to be down on. I know the Raiders lost a couple weeks ago. Things haven't, that game against the Panthers. This is another chance. Pete Carroll has had to rally his troops before. He could rally them again. So tonight is that night where I don't want to say take the money line is plus 165. So I'll be a game time decision on if I take the money line, but for sure taking the spread at 3.5.
So I'm hoping this has been improved somewhat.
Yep.
Not really. I don't know what's going on with the streaming. We had changed to a different streaming and everything was fine, and now today it's been getting goofy. So I'll have to figure that out. But anyways, I did want to point out to the fact that we have a bowl challenge beginning.
Awesome.
And the bowl challenge, you'll see the link in all of our social medias. Free to sign up, and we're going to have a giveaway, and we will announce what the giveaway is tomorrow on tomorrow's show.
And obviously, looking at the bowl games, I cannot wait for that stuff to be happening tomorrow. Be looking for it in the daytime around 12 o'clock. I want to say we're going to be kicking off with the first NCAA action. There's a few games I would love to dive into before we get to the NFL slate on Saturday. As you look up at 11:30 a.m., actually, you'll get the Miami of Ohio and UAB. That's an 11-point spread. Miami of Ohio is getting the points there. Then at 3 o'clock, you're going to have a battle between Troy and Texas San Antonio. Troy is +1. Money line for both -110. Not much to deal with on that note. And then looking ahead a little bit to the Saturday games, you got Louisville and Cincinnati.
Joey, does that sound better?
Sounds about the same, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
And if you look at Louisville and Cincinnati, Cincinnati is +2. Louisville Cardinals in what we call is the Fenway Bowl now. Also at 12 o'clock, Jackson State Tigers taking on NC Central. NC Central is getting 14 points in the Celebration Bowl. So as we look at this bowl challenge, there's going to be a lot to take in. 7:30 at night, you're going to get the BYU.
Is that better?
Hey! Sounded better than anything I've heard lately.
Okay. So I don't know why, but they defaulted and changed it to basically the outer microphone. And I noticed that doing it earlier today when I was doing some editing and whatnot, but I thought if I left and came back. Anyways, we got it fixed. Let's get to the show. I do apologize to the listeners. It's what I get for believing in certain things. But anyways, so I think you're going over the lines. And real quick, what I did want to do is I wanted to explain what was going on with the bowl giveaway. And long story short, the bowl giveaway it's going to be free to sign up. You can go to our YouTube page and find the link. You can go to in the YouTube thread. You can go to our Facebook page. You can go to Twitter at Braves Country HD. That might be the easiest way to find it. And I've got the link in today's show. And you're going to sign up, and it's just it's a confidence game. If you're familiar on how to do confidence, if not, you learn it. It's really easy. Get signed up. It's free to play, and we're going to announce what the prize is going to be tomorrow during tomorrow's show. So don't let the last 3 minutes of audio deter you. We're going to be rock and roll. It's going to be a fun. We've done this in the past, and we're looking forward to it. Joey, I know you haven't had a chance to look at it yet because I just created it during one of the breaks. But the games do start tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. So you want them in by tomorrow. If not, you're going to lose points on the very first game. That doesn't mean that you can't continue to join. I'm pretty sure you can continue to join. But the smart thing would be to go ahead and get it in by tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to do it tonight, no doubt. What's the point of I'm not going to go halfway in. I want to get this thing rocking and rolling with all the games. The buzz hype is there this weekend. I mean, I like it. When you have so many games, I don't mind you start one early up. A lot of people are off this time of year. Let's get it going with Miami of Ohio and UAB and lead into the Troy versus Texas San Antonio game, which I think you said I kind of have some interest in at 3 o'clock.
So there's 43 games this year. Jeez. But anyways, the way the confidence games work, if this makes sense, 43 games, and you'll take a game that you feel very confident that they're going to win, and we're not doing point spreads, just the wins, because we do point spreads every day here on the show. So I want to do something different. And you're gonna say, hey, I feel really good. I'm just gonna pick a random game. Notre Dame, South Carolina, since you're a Notre Dame game. And let's just say you felt 1,000% sure they were going to win that game. I know that probably wouldn't be your number one confidence game, but you would assign that 43 points. And then a game you didn't feel really good about, but you thought you might have a chance to make some ground on some folks. We'll just say, let's say you're going to pull the TCU Michigan game. You can bring that down to 1 point. And the long and the short of it is, at the end of it all, someone's going to have the most points, and we're going to get a prize pack out to them. I'm always putting it together right now, so we're going to figure it out and announce it tomorrow.
The gift that keeps on giving. Let's get that first place.
Yeah. And it gives you an opportunity to really get invested and give you a reason to watch these bowl games.
Oh, I mean, besides just a lot of people, of course, are getting into the gambling aspects of things now. But to me, having a pool just feels right for all these college football games. And hey, the first one's just as important as game 43. They're all going to matter. Get your brackets in, get your games in, get all the confidence points out, 1 to 43. Do not miss one starting tomorrow early.
So looking at the game tonight, I'm a little thrown off by the whole audio situation we had. So forgive me if I'm jumping around on what we were going to do. Looking at the game tonight, it's a 3.5 point spread. Seattle is a 3.5 point underdog at home, correct?
Yes, sir. And I think that jumped from 3 yesterday.
Yeah. So, look, I've already given my lock of the day, and I'll get yours at the end of the show. But I feel like I would probably take San Francisco in this game. But Brock Purdy has never played a road game in the National Football League in Seattle.
Yeah, I'm all over. Actually, I'm on Seattle tonight. I just think a lot of people won't be. I'll probably be in the minority, but I just think on their home field in a big game, Pete Carroll's going to have the boys ready. San Fran offense to me is going to struggle tonight. Purdy's a little bit banged up. Obviously, we all know Deebo Samuel is not going to be checking in. Still a plethora of weapons, but these division games, anything can happen. And I just think after the lackluster past few weeks, football teams find a way to step up when they're a pretty good team, which I think Seattle is. I don't think they're a good team. I don't think they're a great team, but pretty good will be enough to get the job done with the 3.5 points. That hook of the half point has made me fully go all in on Seattle. Not far enough to take that 165 money line most likely, but definitely to take that 3.5.
Yeah, and what's the over under on this? Because I only have the
43.
It is 43. Okay, because I see San Francisco's is 23, Seattle's is 20. One of the ones that I would probably like, I'd probably go towards the. Man, I'll be honest with you. I'd probably go with the under.
I was thinking, because I think San Fran's offense is going to struggle tonight, and people probably think Seattle won't go off the edge. So I'm along. If I have to bet the over/under, I'm taking the under.
I'll tell you a conundrum I had in fantasy, which is related to this game.
Uh-oh.
So I don't remember who my secondary quarterback is. I think it's Mike White who's battling the injury, and you don't know if he's going to play or not, right? And Zach Wilson is not an option to stream, not in the fantasy football playoffs, right? You just the last thing you want to do is put him in. So the other thing that I have is out on the waiver wire, and I did it. I pulled the trigger.
Uh-oh.
Deshaun Watson, playoffs. Because I don't trust Geno Smith against the San Francisco 49er defense in a game where I don't need the moon and the stars, but I can't have a guy go out there and lay an egg, right?
And I in a 2-quarterback league, I have him starting actually because it was between him and the Pittsburgh QBs, and I'm not going to risk it with Trubisky or Pickett. One Deontay Johnson comes out and says he wants somebody else. So Deshaun Watson on Saturday on his home field, I think he's going to have his first good game, and the Browns might actually win that game. If Lamar Jackson is still out, which he didn't practice last couple of days, I think Cleveland might get that one.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to play, and I really wish they would go ahead and just put him on the freaking on the not necessarily on the IR, but just declare him out, right? Because those of us who are trying to wheel and deal all lineups were like, dude, I need to put him in the out column. For people who don't follow fantasy football, basically it's an injured reserve. It's a temporary injury reserve, and you can slide him in. You can go pick somebody else up. And so,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I'm handcuffed because I'm waiting for that.
No, and that's what becomes hard, right? Everyone thinks when you make the playoffs, you just have that slam dunk quarterback choice. No, the running back, very important position, wide receiver so deep. I don't mind that Deshaun Watson play. His stats and his abilities have not backed it up fully to this point yet. But hey, it's playoff time. Let's go. You need one big game. You're not looking for, the king's ransom. You just got to get through and survive.
Yeah, they I guess what I'm looking at is that Baltimore-Cleveland game. I'm hoping for a couple of touchdowns around 250. And it's very odd. So they've got an app where you can go in and put two players up against each other and see which one you'd rather start. And it's an 86% start of Geno over Deshaun Watson, right? And they're basing it off of a bunch of so-called experts' rankings, 86%. But then I go back to the original app where you're putting the guy in, and Deshaun Watson is actually projected to score more points than Geno. So I was just like, man, it's one of those things where you just kind of throw your hands up in the air and go, screw it. I wish that Cleveland game was on Sunday because I would much rather wait to see if Mike White is definitely going to play. And I didn't have much question on it, but today Boomer Esiason was on his show and made it just because Zach Wilson was elevated to the backup, et cetera, et cetera. He thinks that that means that Zach Wilson has a good chance that he's going to end up playing because that means that what do you call it?
Mike White.
That Mike White's not going to make the game where he's so banged up that he may have to come out. And if you caught any of the game last week, Mike White came out and Joe Flacco looked terrible. I think it's more to do with that, but he put that doubt in my mind. So now I'm like, okay, well, and then I went to look at my setup. I was like, well, I essentially don't have to worry about even needing. I'm buying time and not starting Geno, and I give myself 48 hours to see, but it's an absolute mess. It is 4:20. Smoke them if you got them. We will be back in a flash. We are going to take a really quick break. When we come back, we will be diving back into the world of football and more on the Bowl Mania. You're listening to Braves Country on the Key.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I apologize for the distractions.
The Dixie Handle Company, 5 generations of the Strickland family, have produced quality hardwood farm and garden tools, wooden shutters, and custom furniture. This small business has been owned and operated since 1992 and ships to customers across the world. If you're looking for the highest quality tool handles, Dixie Handle Company is your place. Every item is handpicked to your specifications. If it's made of wood, they do it. Call now, 931-722-3395. That's 931-722-3395. Or go online to dixiehandle.com. The Dixie Handle Company. Welcome to Craftsmanship, a proud sponsor of Braves Country Baseball.
Whenever I bring home Entenmann's Little Bites muffins.
Little Bites?
That's right, sweetie. Can you just give Mommy a minute?
I love Little Bites.
I know you do, but we're doing a commercial right now, okay?
Got it.
As I was saying, whenever I bring home you know what, you know who gets pretty excited. And so do I. Little Bites muffins are made with real ingredients, no high fructose corn syrup, and are baked moist and delicious.
I love Little Bites.
There you go.
Yes.
Entenmann's Little Bites muffins. The perfect portion of happiness.
Hey, Braves fans, the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel are bringing you Braves Baseball all season long. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and I'll be bringing you Braves Baseball play-by-play for the Braves fans out there, for all of Braves Country. So pull up an armchair and join us for Braves Country Baseball, first pitch to last pitch, Tuesday and Friday nights, right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. Welcome back to Braves Country. Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 to 5 p.m., drive time on WQEE.
The entire first half, we got hit in the mouth and acted like somebody took our lunch money, and all we wanted to do was have pouty expressions on our face until somebody daubed our little tears off and made us feel better. And then, then we'd go out there and try harder once our mommies told us we were okay.
Welcome back. Thursday edition, and we are taking you all the way to the top of the hour. We're Farrell Coast to Coast. We'll take over tomorrow morning, Ryan on Radio, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Then you've got the Rod Peterson Show from noon to 2 and the Sports Beat 2 to 3. And then we'll be back here 3 to 5. I will be here with Bobby, and we're going to announce what the grand prize will be in the Bowl Mania giveaway. Hopefully you sign up today and or at least sign up by tomorrow morning, and it'll be a free it's free to play and a prize out to go. So, Joey.
Yes, sir.
Some of the things that are going on with, first of all, National Football League. And okay, let's rip this Band-Aid right off, right? You're a Colts fan, you're playing the Vikings. What are your expectations?
Well, pretty low. We are coming off a bye week now. That's never a bad thing when you're a struggling football team. There's not many outs to where you get really hyped up, right? You get the primetime games. This is a Saturday game, but it's just at 1 Eastern. And then you get a week off to get a little healthier. So I don't expect much. I don't expect them to win. I do expect it to be a close game for at least a half, maybe 3 quarters. Vikings haven't looked the greatest lately. Their defense has been getting torched. But then again, their secondary gets torched, and we have Matt Ryan, so their weakness plays into our weakness as well. So from a betting perspective, I would not if you think the Vikings are struggling, believe me, don't be touching the Colts just because they're coming off a bye week. I think they go down probably somewhere in that 24 to 17 range. They probably lose the football game. So I'll be rooting for them. I'll be cheering for them. But then again, if they lose, hey, I get a better draft pick possession. We're up to number 7 right now. And unfortunately, when your team's struggling that much, that's what you're looking for, especially when you need a quarterback. We've all seen the play of Matt Ryan. It hasn't been pretty. So down on the Colts. Not huge on the Vikings either, but they're a much better team at this point in time.
I'm hoping that it's a higher scoring game because I got Justin Jefferson in a lot of leagues. And I'm a little concerned that he's going up against that Colts secondary, which ranks first against wide receivers this year. And I don't pay attention to those rankings a lot until we get past the half point of the year. And when you get to the half point of the year, I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, you better pay attention because it is whatever week 14 statistics say you are, that's what you are.
Oh, no doubt. And the Colts defense has stepped up this year. If anything's been a bright spot, it's been there. They're top 10 in many categories. Now, a little bit of a break from Minnesota. Kenny Moore, one of our top cornerbacks, will be out this week. That happened this morning. So there is one guy down and out. Obviously, they still have Gilly Locks, Mr. Stephon Gilmore, and Isaiah Rodgers back there have been doing most of the heavy hitting, but Kenny Moore is a loss. That being said, the Colts defense is pretty darn good. You got guys like DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart, one of the best D-tackle tandems in the league. Linebacker play's been sound, even though they haven't had Darius Leonard. And then Gilmore, like I said, on the back end. So the Colts defense has been stout. That's why I think this game stays close. But Jefferson, man, he's going to get a couple of his. Don't get me wrong. Gilmore might, most of the game might be doing pretty good. But when it comes down to crunch time, I'm thinking Jefferson might get loose on a couple for you.
Yeah, so the way I'm looking at it too is what I'm hoping is that with that one missing component in the secondary, that maybe Gilmore gets spread thin. Maybe he's not able to just shadow Jefferson.
Yeah.
But you can't bench him. You just can't. Right?
Oh, absolutely not. No. And
in the offseason with the big L in the first round of your playoffs and go, well, I should have started my first round pick. But, or he might have been my second round pick in that league because it might have went up and went down. But he'll definitely be a first round pick next year.
Oh, yeah.
So you got to roll with it. But you just cringe when you see the matchups. You're like, oh, my word. I mean, I've got some pretty good matchups across the board, but that one worries the heck out of me. I've got one where if you got Derrick Henry shares, you want to be all in because he's going to fix a really bad Charger run defense, and I think they're going to try to keep the entire offense, but specifically Herbert, off the field. And there's no better way to do that than to just drain the clock because the Titans have a terrible secondary. So that game's got a lot of implications there. Looking at some of the other point spreads as we go into week 15, And I'll go ahead and hit you with my lock of the day, and then we'll get yours on the other side.
Cool.
As my lock of the day, I already posted it up on Twitter, as I do right after the show begins. My lock of the day is Kittle. It's a minus 130, getting 41.5 yards, the over. I'm taking the over. I just think with the absence of Debo and probably a pretty conservative game plan, and the Seahawks don't do well against the tight end, I got to figure Kittle's got to find a way to get 42 yards or more.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be the main threat, right? Obviously, as we alluded to many a times, Debo's out, and McCaffrey, he'll get a fair share of touches. But when it comes to that pass game, Purdy's going to be looking all day for that tight end.
Now, looking at the other games, not necessarily the prop bets, but the other games, those Saturday games are interesting. Minnesota's giving up 4, but you don't think that the Colts can cover that?
I got them losing by 7. I just think they could be covering for a long time in this game. You might be like, shoot, why did I take Minnesota?
What about that over-under? It's sitting at 47.5.
I have it 24-17, so I guess I'm leaning on the under right there. I just don't trust the Colts offense to put up enough. Jonathan Taylor, I mean, our best player has fumble issues, so I don't like where the offense is at. But Matty Ice's arm is about half alive at this point.
Dolphins, Bills that night. Dolphins are getting 7.5. The over-under is 44, and that seems extremely low to me. Miami's defense is terrible. And Miami's going to be forced to chuck it down the field to keep up with Buffalo. What's your thoughts on that one?
I'm with you on the over. I'm also on Miami. I just think they're, a lot of people are afraid to trust in Miami still. They just think in the cold with Tua, things are going to crumble. Not so fast, my friends. The Dolphins have a great head coach. They're going to be well prepared for this game. It's a divisional game. They know it's a big one. I'm not saying they come out with a W by no means. I think Buffalo does win this game, but I think I would take the 7.5 points and the over. The weather could play a factor, so I'm not going huge shootout, but it will slip past the over with a Miami cover.
Yeah. So, by the way, I appreciate the advice, Maverick, but I used to have a Yeti microphone, and those are actually not very good. I've got a professional grade. That had nothing to do with the microphone. It was the application, and they had changed the settings on me. Why? I don't know. They changed it between the breaks, and this is the first time it's happened. So I have now jotted down what it's supposed to be, so that I'll know instantly what the heck is going on. Because it sounded like I was standing outside yelling at you, right?
It like through a screen, like a loud screen door.
Because what it did is it defaulted my camera that's sitting up there. It's not connected to the computer. It went in and it grabbed the microphone from the camera, which it's never supposed to do. It's supposed to take it from here because this actually goes into a soundboard. It's a little more complex than most shows because I've been doing radio for so long. So been doing radio through these boards for at least 10 years. So I've kind of went through all the what's good. I remember originally getting the Yeti and then just going, well, this is not as good as everyone thinks. Everyone says it is. Because they're not professional grade, even though they tell you that they are. It'll pick up sounds all over the place. So, anyways, back to the actual football. I don't see, and maybe they don't have it because Lamar Jackson's injury, but I don't see a line currently for. Oh, here it is. It just reappeared. They must have taken it down for some reason. Baltimore getting 3 points against Cleveland on Saturday. It's in Cleveland. That's an interesting spread to me. The only way I'm watching this game is if I lay some hay on it. Because the matchup kind of bores me.
And I think they're begging you. A lot of people are going to hop on Baltimore when they see that +3, but without Lamar Jackson, that offense isn't much to brag about. Deshaun Watson, I'm telling you, a big game's coming for the guy.
Well, it's not just that, but if people have not paid attention to this, Baltimore has gotten gashed on the ground a bit, and go back and look at the original game where Cleveland manhandled Baltimore. Now there's a lot of factors there, but Nick Chubb went off, and he has been getting more and more involved in the offense. He actually had a 50% share of offensive snaps on passing downs, which is new because it used to pretty much predominantly be Kareem Hunt. I think the Browns are going to cover that.
Music to my ears as I have Nick Chubb in a couple of fantasy leagues, but I'm on the Browns. I'll give up the 3 points gladly.
So we have a dynasty league that 2-week playoffs for the semifinals and 2-week playoffs for the finals, right? And I'm playing Steven, who was on the show yesterday in the semifinals. I knew he wouldn't bring it up. I've got a 70 or 80-point lead going into this week, so I just have to put it on cruise control and don't do anything stupid and wild, and I'll win, right? I had a similar lead in the championship last year. Brian, who comes in and the big Bengals fan, and he made it a lot closer than it should have been. I think I had an 80-point lead, and I won by 20. And then that sounds like, okay, well, you want, but you're at the end and it's championship week. You're like, wow, what's going on? I think it was something like I didn't have anybody playing Sunday night or Monday night, and he had like 3 guys, and all 3 went off. I can't remember the players, but I just remember going, oh my God. I hate not having anyone on Sunday night or Monday night playing because I always feel like no matter what my lead is, it's not big enough.
It's like cheering for an under. You just feel uncomfortable about it. Like you want players left on the board. You don't want it to come down to that last night where you could just get skulled. And it always seems like the guy that you need to not do something does something big in those opportunities.
I'm going to put this up again for folks that might be joining us late. It's a lot there. Just want to go into the comments, but we're doing a Bowl Mania. All the armchair quarterbacks will be playing it. I hope everyone else gets involved with it too. We've done it past years and had a decent amount of folks. Share it to all your friends, all your social media. They're all it's all free to play, and it's fun. It's nothing crazy that we give away, but it's usually a neat little prize. And then we'll be doing something even more fun come Super Bowl. We got something set up for that. We're gonna be doing squares.
I just joined myself.
What's that?
I just joined myself.
There you go. Yeah. So, and to me, it's a lot of fun, but
that easy.
And it's legal. There's no, because it's free to play. It's all done through Capital One. So let's get back to, okay. So we pretty much went over the 3 games on the docket for Saturday NFL. I do want to touch on, before we have to hit this last break, I do want to touch on real quick the college football slate and the bowls that are going to be taking place. First one tomorrow morning, 11:30 a.m. UAB's 11-point favorite. And that game is in the Bahama Bowl. And then later on that day, this is one of the ones that I'm probably gonna have at the very bottom, like for 1 point, because I really don't know who to take. But I'm gonna take a swing here. Troy State and Texas San Antonio, who has been, both of them have had really good years. It's a 1 point favorite. Over under is 55.5. Which way are you leaning on the 3:00 game tomorrow?
I'm leaning towards Texas, San Antonio, and if people ask me a lot of questions, right, I'm probably not going to have the most clever answers for you. But look, they had a pretty good season. They finished 6-2 in their conference. Overall 7-6. But I mean, I'm taking them and straight up in this game. I already put them down as my 19-pointer for the pool we're in. So clearly, I have some confidence, and I'm going to write out. I'm going to write out Texas San Antonio.
I'm honestly going to flip a coin. I don't have it.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know everybody on.
What I'm planning on doing right before the game is I'm probably going to take the over. I wanted to drop another point, but it's probably going to get raised. But once again, we were talking about this beginning of the show. There is nothing going on tomorrow night, and it dumbfounds me that this game is not the Friday night game.
Why? I can understand why you put a game during the day, but why not something at night when guaranteed everybody's off?
They've got a Division II championship on ESPN2, not knocking that for people who are going to watch that. Okay. But ESPN, the mothership, has some lame NBA game. It's like Philly and the Lakers or whatever.
Come on, in the first half, we don't need that.
Everyone east of the Mississippi and south of the Mason-Dixon, they're not even turn on ESPN tomorrow.
Barely turn it on anyway.
Right? Nobody is going to watch that except the Lake. Charles Barkley said it best the other day about the false narrative that goes on out there, and everyone's forced to talk about the Lakers, yet they're number 12. And he mentioned, he goes, when was the last time we ever talked about the Washington Wizards who were,
I heard that,
who were sitting at the 12th seed, and he's right. Like, ESPN tries to convince you that you should be talking about it. It is the worst. And anytime I'm on whatever the show is, and they start breaking down the Lakers and what's wrong with the Lakers, I'm like, where is that road? Get me out of here.
Brutal.
Tell me who you think the Kansas City Royals setup man's going to be this year. Because at least I might have some fantasy baseball.
Something.
I do not care that LeBron's giving all his teammates the stink eye because he's got no ups anymore, and he's surrounded by guys who are even worse. We got to take a really quick break. When we come back, Joey's lock. We're going to get a stupid underdog, and we're going to get into a couple of more spreads for this weekend. We'll be back in a flash. Keep it locked in here on the Key, WQEE, and Braves Country HD, wherever you stream the best darn show there is, right?
Amen.
X. There's a lot of thrashing and thumping, but nothing really gets done. I'm like a broken dishwasher.
Armchair Quarterback Radio. We cover the world of baseball from start to finish.
Baerga is 0 for 3. Left center field. Grissom on the run. The team of the 90s has its world championship. A liner off Nagy's glove into center field. The Florida Marlins have won the World Series. Brocious fittingly with a throw, and the Yankees have done it again. Number 24. They are the world champions of baseball in 1998. Change of a lifetime for Luis Gonzalez. 2-2, bottom of the ninth, game 7 of the World Series. Bases loaded. Floated, center field. The Diamondbacks are world champion. Red Sox fans have longed to hear it. The Boston Red Sox are world champions. In the air to left, well hit. Back is Craig. What a team. What a ride. The Cardinals are world champs in 2011.
Armchair.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neal, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Take the scenic route in the new Hyundai Santa Fe, the family SUV with available H-Track all-wheel drive to help you travel way off the beaten path. Find new adventures together in Hyundai Santa Fe.
Hey, sports fans. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE 99.1 FM. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, home of Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Key and youtube.com at Braves Country.
Bones of dinosaurs and everything else, but we haven't found bones that I've heard of Bigfoot.
Enjoy sun-drenched days.
Why, any fool could see he made that first down when he dived. If Howard Cosell came in now, he'd never get out alive. 'Cause he's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Welcome back. I believe we got all the technical difficulties worked out here. We do apologize for the audio earlier in the show. Nothing I could see happening coming or beforehand. Just one of those things you're like, why? I could tell when I was listening to our feed, I was like, why does it sound like I'm in the other room? What is going on? Oh, they got a freaking mic somewhere, and I was trying to figure out where it was. I was like, oh man, they're pulling it off of this thing. Anyways, right when you think you found a foolproof platform, here we go. But anyways, let's get into about 15 minutes to get back into this. One of the things that I do want to put up here is we will be bringing you the game tonight. It will be here on Braves Country HD, so YouTube's realistically the best one to find us at if it's not available in your area. But we're going to be coming on at 8 p.m. Jones and I were going to give you play-by-play of Seahawks 49ers. I've been waiting for the dust to settle and for our schedules kind of open up a little bit. We did the Army-Navy game on Saturday, and I love doing that game, but this one's going to feel a lot more natural because you know who the players are. I mean, let's be honest, I don't watch a lot of military school football during the year. I always do the Army-Navy because I enjoy it. We're always scrambling to find who is wearing number 22, right? And favors by the fact that nobody wears any names on the back of their jersey.
Doesn't help.
And then, of course, college football, there will be multiple guys who will be wearing the same number. And so you're searching the depth chart, and you're like, oh, man.
There's 3 of these.
Defensive back, is this the wide receiver? Because the guy's back there returned to kick. I don't know which one he is. You're out there just guessing. I mean, I learned a long time ago that if I'm doing it by myself, you just make up the name and you roll. But because I had Tones with me, I was like, well, I'm going to have to be somewhat accurate. I learned that years ago doing a game with an older gentleman. I was like, we were doing a football game. We were way up where you couldn't see anything. I said, man, I can't make out that guy's name and number. He goes, nobody knows. He goes, I don't know most of the time. He goes, this is high school football. Just make up a name. He goes, and if worst thing comes to worst, just yell out the number.
Honesty at its finest.
Jack Jones with the sack. Who is Jack Jones? He transfer in somewhere? Okay. Let's go ahead and get your lock and your stupid underdog pick, and then we'll go from there.
All right, yeah, I'll start with my lock. I know you mentioned a moment ago how the quarterback situation in this game could be a little iffy between Mr. Mike White and his injury status, but I like the Jets. A lot of people are going to be on the Lions this week. By the way, Jets are -1 home against Detroit. I just think it's a big game for both, but I think the Jets need it. They reeled the last couple of weeks. I mean, they played a tough Buffalo team in their stadium. That's never easy to do, especially with the conditions they were in. I just think that the Jets come to play this week. Their defense steps up big time. And then I see them putting up points on the other side. I think you guys were talking about Garrett Wilson in the first hour. Huge on him. Hopefully he can make somewhat of a fantasy impact too. But sticking to the game, I like the Jets -1. I think they come out and, hey, they've had a couple of big wins. They've beaten Buffalo on their home field this season, and that's not the only big win they had. So I'm liking the Jets on this lock side of things. Going to my stupid underdog, I'm going to take us to college football, where I'm going to look at the Frisco Bowl. This is going to be on Saturday. and that game is a contest between Boise State Broncos, who are a 10.5-point favorite against North Texas, the Mean Green Machine. I'm going to take North Texas plus 10.5 with my stupid underdog pick. Not feeling the greatest about it for them to obviously win that game. But hey, it's a bowl mania. Anything could happen. It's in Frisco, Texas. So let's go North Texas in Texas, kind of like a home game, right? So screw it. I'm going to take them plus the 10.5 on Saturday at 9:15 p.m.
Okay. And all right, I'm putting that away. I can't make out what I've written over there over the last couple of days. I'll get that organized off.
A lot going on.
Yeah. Bumpy enough ride today. I don't even start trying to break down my Sanskrit over here. So I have not done a lock for the weekend. I'm going to wait to do that tomorrow. I did give you the Kittle one. I think I'll wait to do my stupid underdog tomorrow as well, because I want to see where I'm going to give Bobby a fighting chance, because he always has to pick last. So I'll give him a decent shot at it.
Stayed away from the Gators, hoping he just picks them tomorrow.
Well, he probably that's kind of where I expect him to go, and I wouldn't blame him being a Gator fan. I'm not willing to take the Gators anyways. They're going to be in some trouble. Now, I think you're going to see a really conservative game plan, and they're going to try to keep the ball on the ground and try to do some really basic stuff with the offense, considering that their top two quarterbacks are gone for two different reasons, but nonetheless, they're gone. And Miller, I don't think he's taken a snap this year. So I get that he's had a couple of weeks to try to get, but you're probably talking about a very small playbook, right?
Very.
They're going to try more not to lose the game. That it'll be interesting to see if that knucklehead Billy Napier, Billy Ball as I call it, if he's out there going for it on fourth down like he always does now, that with the third string quarterback, this actually might give them a better chance of winning the game. Because I can't tell you how many times I've watched them all year long, and I'm laughing because I'm not a Gator fan, but I'm laughing like, what are they doing? It's like 4th and 2 or 4th and 3 on their own side of the 40, and he's got there going for it. And we're talking about it early in the game. It's a one-score game either way, and you don't get it, which they typically don't. And now all of a sudden it's okay. Now the defense is backs up against the wall, and they got to try to hold them to a field goal. And I don't understand. I talk about this all the time with football, in the new school mentality that everyone has. Everybody goes for it on fourth down nowadays, right?
Yep.
It's not even looked upon as a radical thought. But when you go for it on fourth down, my biggest thing is, what is there to gain from getting that first down, and what is there to lose for not getting it? And what I mean by that is going forward on 4th and 2 on your opponent's 37. I love it, because if you get it, you're setting yourself up inside their 35-yard line with a solid chance of at least turning that into a field goal, a much more makeable field goal. And if you don't get it, they're only getting the ball at about the 40, right?
Yep.
But when you're doing it on your side of the field, if you get that first down, okay, that just means you have postponed a punt for 3 plays. That's all you've really done. And if you don't get it, you've essentially turned what could have flipped the field, you've turned it into points for the opposing team.
And that's why, call me a little old school here, maybe. I'm not a huge fan of the Chargers head coach. I just think he takes chances way too often. And even like within the 10-yard line when going in and he misses it a couple of times, you got to be knowing where you're at on the field. And I think a lot of people are going too much analytics when it comes to these fourth downs, when sometimes it's okay to punt the ball or it's okay to take the 3 points depending on the game situation.
I see some comments by Maverick real quick before we but I mean, once again, unless Conforto is going to sign for something very, very cheap, I don't see them going Conforto. Benintendi's going to get paid more, and he should sign first. And then Conforto, whatever Benintendi gets, I think he'll get about half the deal, right? So if Benintendi goes out there, there's been talks of Benintendi getting a deal somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 for 75, okay? Conforto, because he didn't play for a solid year, and he hasn't been like the greatest player to begin with. It's not like this is Barry Bonds coming out of retirement. He's probably going to be looking for a cheaper deal, but I still think he wants a 2 or 3 year deal. Something about like what we gave Rosario. He signed for 3 for 27, right? Once again, the Braves don't really have anywhere to put him because Rosario and Ozuna are on the roster, and they're taking up $25 million. So unless they get really creative, or the top brass in Atlanta says, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead, we'll go ahead and jump over the first and second threshold of the salary tax, I just don't see it happening. I don't think the Braves are done necessarily, but they're not going to make a move until Dansby Swanson has absolutely, positively cannot be brought back. And then it might be a situation like last year where you get, one of the more interesting ones out there for me. We got to make this quick because we're coming at the top of the hour, Joey.
Yep.
Who just signed a $350 million shortstop in the North Bay? Carlos Correa, right? San Francisco Giants, right?
Huge money.
Okay. What are they going to do with Brandon Crawford? Could Anthopoulos swoop in and grab him? And for folks who have not watched him play, he's a solid bat, but that's not why you're bringing him in. You're bringing him in because he's a winner, and he is elite defensively.
And it's kind of funny. You talked about that a couple of days ago.
He kind of looks like Dansby Swanson, so you know what the heck.
And you talked about it a couple of days ago. We said probably you have to talk to Crawford and say, hey, we got our big money here. We're paying him to play shortstop. Maybe you got to move over to third. And then if he gets disgruntled, then anything could happen, and you could have, maybe him moving somewhere. But I'll tell you what, I just think after you gave Correa that bag, he's going to get to play shortstop. That's my
opinion. Yeah, you didn't bring him in to play third, I don't think.
Right.
He's got a rifle for an arm. And in his heyday, I'd say Crawford's a better defensive player, but not by much. But he's not in his heyday anymore, and you didn't just give Crawford $350 million. You've got to let him play his position, and it would be more advantageous for San Francisco to just move Crawford out, right? Just move him out and start over. I know he's a fan favorite there, but I would take him in Atlanta. I'm not giving up Grissom to get him. What's your walk-off? We got about 10 seconds.
My walk-off is they get in the bowl mania. There's plenty of games starting tomorrow through the weekend. NFL Saturday, get ready to lock in your couch on Saturday for all the action. And tonight with the Armchair Quarterbacks and Towns.
Yeah, my walk-off is tune in tonight, 8:15 Eastern. We're going to 8 p.m. is when we'll start it. Kickoff of the Niners Seahawks right here on Braves Country HD and wherever you stream. And we'll look forward to you then. See you next week.
Adios.
And we'll be back tomorrow, 3 to 5.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks on 99.1 FM WQEE, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country. Braves Country comes your way weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Please follow, like, and subscribe today. Armchair Quarterback Radio, your first choice for Southern sports.
Something of the 5th of September. Something of the 5th of September. She said a lot that I can't remember. Something of the 5th. Can I get another cigarette, please? Can I get another cigarette, please? Yeah, I know I live to regret it. Just give me another cigarette, please.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to